Hi everyone and welcome. So as you saw, this video is for those times when you're not feeling your best because of period pain, cramping, that kind of thing. So it's a nice and gentle practice. We'll focus a lot around the lower back and the belly region, helping to relieve pain with gentle twists and some stretching. So you might need a block or a pillow would work as well for this practice. So go ahead and get yourself ready, and when you are ready, I'll meet you back here. We'll begin today lying in rest and reset pose. So take a bend into your knees, have your feet about mat distance apart, and let your knees rest against each other. We'll take a moment here just to settle into the practice. So once you're comfortable, start to notice your breath, just following it in and out of the body. And with time, then start to make your inhalation a little bit deeper, sending it all the way down into your belly. And then take nice, long, slow exhalations. We associate a lot of negativity with this time of month. So I thought today maybe for this practice we could just start with a little bit of positivity. So just a reminder here that periods are a good thing, and it's a sign that your body is healthy and your cycle is functioning the way it should. And they're also just a reminder of all of the amazing things that the female body is capable of. So as you continue to send your breath all the way down into your belly, you might start to send a little bit of that positivity into. Just take some time to honor yourself for all the amazing things that you can do. And then each time you breathe out, allow your exhalation to take some of that pain and negativity out of your body. We'll stay here just for a few more rounds of breath. And from here now we'll take ourselves into a supine twist. So send your right leg out long and bring the sole of your left foot up onto that right thigh. Right hand can come to hold your knee, left hand reaches towards the ceiling. Stack your hips on top of each other to bring your knee over towards the right side and let your left arm fall back down to the left. Take note of your left shoulder here. You want to try keep it connected to the mat. And you can either gaze up towards the ceiling or look over at your left hand here. So we'll stay in this twist for about 2 minutes in total. And this is a great way to help relieve some lower back pain. And it will also help to ease cramping. So keep sending your breath deep into your body, and each time you exhale, You might be able to take yourself a little bit deeper into the twist by encouraging your left knee a little bit closer to the floor. And when I'm in these twisting poses, I like to imagine a wet cloth. In the same way that you wring out all the water from a cloth, we're also wringing out anything that the body doesn't need right now. And that includes pain and cramps. Whenever you're ready now, we'll start to reverse on out of the pose, coming back towards center, and then we'll repeat that on the other side. So right foot comes up onto your left thigh, left hand grabs your knee, right hand reaches for the ceiling. Stack your hips to bring your knee over towards the left and release your right hand back to the right. Gaze towards the ceiling or look over at your right hand, and this time conscious of your right shoulder, keeping it connected to the mat. Settling into the pose on this side now, finding your breath again, and just letting the twist work its magic. And if your mind has drifted away during this pose, that's normal. But just try your best to take your attention back to the sensations that you're feeling, or just keep following your breath. And just a few more rounds on this side. So prepare to come out of the pose now. Make your way back towards center. Take a moment just to lie on your back, letting your spine realign itself against the ground. And now you can gradually pick yourself up until you're sitting on the mat. So from here, we'll come into bound angle pose. So we're bringing the soles of the feet together to make a big diamond shape with the legs. The further away you have your feet, the easier this stretch will be. And then, of course, the closer they are, the more intense you'll feel it. So find what feels good for you. If this is feeling very uncomfortable and if your hips are maybe tight, you can use a block or a cushion to sit up on, and that will make this pose a little bit easier. So your hands can come to grab your feet wherever they naturally do. Take a breath in to lengthen up your spine, and as you exhale, start to hinge at your hips, folding over your feet. And it might feel good to just drop your head here. We're letting gravity do all of the work here. You don't have to force anything. start to take a few deep breaths, sending them all the way down into your pelvis. And this pose is a really great way to open up the hips, and it also stimulates the ovaries and all of the reproductive organs, which are working extra hard right now. So just relaxing into the pose, we'll stay here for a few breaths. You might notice here as your body starts to open up a little bit, you might be able to sink your nose a little bit closer to the mat with each breath out. Getting ready to come out of the pose now. Use your next inhalation to lift yourself back up. And then from here, we'll come into cat and cow pose. So swing your feet back behind you. Bring your hands out in front. Wrists are directly below the shoulders and knees are directly below the hips. On an inhalation, point your tailbone towards the ceiling. Drop your belly towards the mat. Bring your chest slightly forward and then look up. As you exhale, tailbone points down. Round your spine, tuck your chin in towards your chest and drop your head down. We'll continue inhaling, tailbone pointing up, belly dropping down, chest gliding forward, eyes finding the ceiling. Exhale, tailbone points down, round your back, chin towards chest, and drop your head. So keep going here for a few more rounds. And this is a great way to keep your spine happy. And we're also helping to release tightness from the hips. The next time that your spine is neutral, we'll pause there, coming back into tabletop, and glide your hips back towards your heels. So from here, we'll come into child's pose. You can have your big toes together, and then have your knees either together or wide apart. So if you're feeling lower back pain, you might take your knees together, and that will help to stretch out the back a little bit more. When you're ready then, start to fold your torso forward. Hands can walk towards the front of the mat and then release your forehead to the ground. If your forehead doesn't connect to the ground, that's okay. You can always make a platform with your hands and then rest your forehead on your hands, or you can use a cushion or a block here too. Another option for the hands is to rest them back next to your feet with the palms facing up. So take as much time as you need to get comfortable here in child's pose. And if this feels a bit too intense for your knees or your hips, you can always take a cushion and put it in underneath your hips. Noticing the breath again here in child's pose. Each time you inhale, you're stretching your back, and each time you exhale, you're compressing your body a little bit more. And that will help to get rid of cramps. Let's just use your breath here. To come out of the pose now, reach your hands towards the front of the mat if they're not already there. Press your finger pads into the ground and use the breath in to pull yourself back up into tabletop pose. So from here, we're coming into lizard pose, stepping your right foot forward to the outside of your right hand. Have it on a 45-degree angle so your heel is coming in and your toes are pointing away from you. Left knee can walk back slightly behind you to whatever distance is comfortable, and then bring the top of your left foot onto the mat. So this is our lizard pose. Again here, a nice stretch for the hips. Have your wrists directly below your shoulders, and then find a point on the mat in front of you to focus your vision on. Connect to your breath again, and if it feels good, you might allow your pelvis to sink a little bit closer to the floor. And you can stay here in lizard, or you can take it into a twist from here by bringing your right hand up onto your right knee. Then gently press that right knee away from your body. Start to rotate through your waist and then your rib cage, then your chest to look up at the ceiling. If you're looking at the ceiling, find one point just to focus your vision on. We'll stay here just for a few breaths. This pose can be quite intense. So each inhalation lengthens your back, and each exhalation helps you to twist a little bit more. Take one more big breath in here, and as you exhale, we'll start to come back to center. Coming out of the pose now, step that right foot back into tabletop. If you need to just sit back on your heels here just to release your wrists, feel free to do so. And then when you're ready, we'll take that to the other side. So back into tabletop. This time left foot steps forward to the outside of your left hand. Point your toes away from you and then step your right knee back. Wrists are below shoulders and find something to settle your gaze on here. Nice deep breath in, dropping the pelvis towards the mat if that feels good. And then maybe taking a twist on this side, bringing your left hand up onto your left knee, gently pushing it away. Rotating your waist, rib cage and chest towards the left, and then gazing up at the ceiling. And just a few deep cleansing breaths here on this side. When you're ready, start to release out of the pose. Step your left foot back and sit back on your heels for a moment. So shaking off the wrists if you need to. And from here, we're making our way into a yogi squat. So bring the soles of your feet onto the mat. Have your toes pointing out and your heels pointing in. Upper arms can come to the inside of your thighs, and then palms can meet each other in front of your chest. So if you need to use a cushion or a block to sit up on here, that's fine. Feel free to do so. And we won't stay here for too long. I know it can be quite an intense pose, but just try your best to settle into it. Releasing your tailbone towards the floor and extending the crown of your head towards the ceiling. And this pose is the ultimate pose for period pain. You're opening up the hips and again stimulating all those organs within the pelvis. So nice deep breaths down to fill up the bowl of your pelvis. Exhaling to release any pain. We'll take our yogi squat straight into a standing forward fold. So release your hands towards the mat in front of you and then slowly start to straighten up your legs, keeping your head low to the mat. Heel toe your feet into about hip distance apart. Have a generous bend in your knees here. Release your head, relax your neck muscles, loosen up your jaw. Hands can either hang low to the mat or they can come and grab opposite elbows. This pose is especially good for lower back pain, helping to stretch and release any tension you're feeling there. So coming back to the breath now, each inhalation gently straightens your spine and expands your chest. And each time you exhale, you might be able to squish your upper body a little bit more into your legs. When you're ready to come out of the pose, take a really generous bend into your knees. You might bring your hands back behind you and then sit back down on the mat. From here, we're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So step your legs out really far from each other, as much as is comfortable. You can always keep a bend in your knees here, and you can even have the soles of your feet on the floor if you need to. Otherwise, we're inhaling to lengthen through the spine, and then on an exhalation, walk your hands away from you, just folding as far as is comfortable. Once you've reached your max, dropping your head and just settling into this pose here. As always here, each inhalation helps to lengthen your spine, and each time you exhale, you might be able to sink your nose a little bit closer to the floor. And gravity and your breath are doing all of the work here. You don't have to force anything. And just checking in on your thoughts again here, seeing where they are. And if you need to take them back, just focus on these sensations that you're feeling, or just start to follow your breath again. We'll use our next breath in to lift back out of the pose. You can step your feet back in towards each other, and we'll come back down to lie on our backs. So once you're settled on the mat again, you can hug your right knee up into your chest. And this pose will help with bloating or gas. It may or may not feel nice to bring your nose up towards your knee. You can just experiment here with what feels nice. So send the right foot back towards the bottom of the mat and take your left knee up into your chest. Again here, inhaling to press your belly against your thigh, exhaling to hug yourself a little bit tighter. You can release your left foot back down to the bottom of the mat. And we'll take the last few moments of the practice just to completely relax. So find whatever position is most comfortable for you. You can come into a traditional Savasana by having your hands and feet spread away from your body. You might come back into rest and reset pose, just like we did at the beginning of the practice. Or what might feel really good is to come on into the fetus position, coming onto one side and just tucking your knees up into your chest. And again, that's a great way to deal with cramps. So whatever feels good for you, settle into it. Notice your breath again. Allow all of your muscles to drop into the mat. Loosen up your jaw, soften your face. And this time can bring a lot of emotional challenges. So we're taking this time just to help your mind settle. And just a reminder here that if you are feeling some negative emotions, that it is temporary and it will pass. You'll be back to your regular self soon. So stay here for as long as you can, giving yourself the time to relax. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope to see you again soon, but until then, namaste.